We all have a story. I tell mine and air out my dirty laundry on the internet in front of thousands of people in hopes that something good can come out of all the mess I made, in hopes that I can maybe even help someone out there. Everyone's been asking, so here's the brutally honest and ugly story about why I didn't wear wedding rings for 10 years of my marriage. And why, as of recently, I've all of a sudden got wedding rings on my hand after being married for 16 years. Alright guys, I want to do my makeup standing here at the kitchen counter because of the lighting. The lighting is so much better. Actually, I could probably turn on the living room light and make it even more better. Blah, blah, blah. So we're going to go out today and we're going to kind of shop around for chairs for the dining room because Shane's going to build the dining room table, but we're not building chairs. We're not building chairs. So we've got to go find some chairs. I can talk him into building a bench. He does not want to do that. And I'm not going to make him if he doesn't want to do that. But I don't know where he stands at. what part of the no do you stand at? Is it a firm no? Is it a soft no? What is it? I'm not sure where he stands at yet. So I'm going to inquire about that today and see how he feels. If he doesn't build a bench, then the table's going to be fairly large. So we're going to have to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chairs. At the least 8 chairs. I don't want to do that. But if we have to, then that's the route we'll go. Either way, it's going to be absolutely beautiful. I have no doubt it's going to be absolutely beautiful. But we're going to go out today to do that. And I was like, instead of looking like just like a troll, I don't say a troll. Because I used to call myself a troll whenever I didn't get ready and stuff. I don't like that. I don't like doing that anymore. So instead of looking like bullfrog came to my mind, but we're not going that route either. Duncan, I had to put him up on my live the other day. Who was there for the live? If you were there for the live, you took your loyalty to me to another level because y'all used to always say I'd watch you sort beans, and y'all watched me roll up pizza pockets forever. So if you were there and you stuck by me through that, even though I was rambling and I was a hot mess because I was trying to not procrastinate, what is it? Multitask. I was trying to multitask and I was just everywhere. And I warned y'all ahead of time. I was like, I'm not good at lives anyway because I can't kind of edit myself down. I'm a little bit too much in person. And I tell y'all that. And on my videos, I like to edit myself down sometimes just to help y'all's nerves. And I couldn't do that on the live, obviously. So I was warning y'all like, hey, it's going to be a little much. Just letting you know. I like to warn y'all so I don't hit you like a freight train. And some of y'all stuck around for that. Actually, over 1,000 people stuck around for that entire live. We had almost the entire live. We had over 1,000 people in the chat just watching me roll up pizza rolls. So for that, I want to say thank you first and foremost because I know I'm a lot to handle. I handle myself every day. Try to anyway. Don't do a very good job at it, but I know I'm a lot. And the fact that over 1,000 people stuck in that chat through that entire escapade is amazing. I felt love coming off of that one. We even talked about some hard things that I was afraid to talk about because I'm always afraid that y'all will view me differently after you hear my story. Most of you know my story, but I'm constantly getting new friends in here that don't know my story. And I'm always like, yep, this is going to be the time they're like, oh, this girl, no. And then like, leave. Because my story ain't pretty. Oh my gosh, it's so ugly. I can't stand to hear the stuff I did as a person. And I probably care about myself as far as like my well-being and stuff more than a lot of the people who hate me. I would like to think I love myself in a not conceited way more than the people who don't love me at all. I hope so anyway. It'd be ironic if I didn't. But I'm always like, if I can't handle hearing this stuff, then I know that the people who don't like me or the people that are on the fence about whether they like me or not can understand it and be open to like forgiving that version of myself. It's hard. It's always hard to talk about that. I used to talk about it a lot more than I do now because there used to be a higher influx of new people coming in. It used to be thousands of people a month, and now we have a steady, like every month there's hundreds of people coming. And so I try not to go down that road too much anymore. And also me going down that road in the blog post as often as I did made me not want to touch that topic with a 10-foot pole. I had to go to therapy, which is why the blog post, I forgot the mustache, has not been active. I had to give myself time. I will be coming back to it because God told me to do it, and the work in me He started, He will finish. That blog post will get finished in Jesus' name. I just really it was affecting me mentally. It was like reliving all the most horrendous stuff I've done in my entire life. And that was not fun. I knew it wasn't going to be fun, but I didn't know it was going to put me in that kind of headspace. So I'm going to actually talk about something I talked about on the live the other day, because I felt like I didn't do it justice on the live. And as I do that, I'm going to get ready, because a lot of y'all have been asking about the makeup routine. My makeup routine has stayed the same forever, but here recently in the last year, I'm trying to rediscover myself in my 30s, right? And I've been embracing my paleness and not having a ring around my face. Used to, I'd have to blend my makeup down because I'd use really tan makeup on my face. I'd have to blend it down into my neck, and I'd have like a two-tone, like neck up, I'd be really tan. Down here, I'd be really, really light, unless I would even take the makeup even further right here. And I've been trying to avoid doing that and embracing my pale skin in my 30s. Something I never thought I would do, ever. I never thought I would be that way. I've always hated, do I have sideburns today? No. I've always hated my pale skin, and that's just not fair to God, because he picked it out, right? So I've been doing some bronzer and stuff, but not going near as dark as I used to, because God picked this color out for me. So he thought it looked good, right? Anyways, I talked about like my past whenever I was doing the live, and it was really hard. I felt like I didn't do a good job at relaying stuff because I was so preoccupied with the pizza roll-ups. So if you caught that, hopefully, and you left confused, I'll hopefully answer your questions and kind of explain or reiterate some stuff better this go around. I am doing something different, but I'm used to talking to you guys while doing my makeup. So I think this will go a lot better than me trying to talk to y'all while I do pizza rolls. And I won't explain to you what I'm using, but I will show you guys. That way I don't get confused and get everything jumbled up, because if I'm trying to tell y'all what I'm using and tell y'all this story, my lore, then I'm going to get really like jumbled up and confusing, and this is going to go no better than the pizza roll-up situation on the live the other day. I just got foundation in my eye. Oh. But if I just show you guys the products I'm using, and then you just watch me apply it, then I think that'll suffice for those of you who will want to know what I'm using. I got that in my eye. It's burning. If not, then ask in the comments. Shayna's in there all the time, and he will let me know if y'all have questions, and he will ask me, and I will tell him what to tell y'all. And if I'm in the comments, then you will see a heart on your comment. Shane can't heart your comments from his moderator account, but I can heart your comments. So when I'm in the comments, you get a heart, and when Shane's in the comments, he reads it to me, and I can't heart it because he's reading it to me. But it's still seen. All the comments, most of the comments are seen. I won't say all of them, because sometimes there are like over 1,000 comments a video, and those are a little bit harder to see every single one, but most of the comments are seen. Even if they don't have a heart on them, Shane has seen them, and he has reiterated them to me at nighttime. He'll read me nice comments, and it's literally what reminds me like what I'm here for. Like when I get a comment that says, Marina, like, thank you for hanging out with me. I was lonely and your video popped up and I don't feel lonely anymore. I go to bed with a smile on my face after he reads that. Because that's what we're here for, right? We're here for, I want you to watch the channel knowing that if you struggle in areas that I struggle in, you're not alone. If you don't struggle in areas I struggle in, you're not alone. Nobody's alone here. I love you guys with my whole heart, and I pray for you. And when I say I pray for you, I pray for you. I don't, Jesus touched them, amen. Like, I go to war in the spirit for y'all. That's what I'm called for. That's what I'm called for. I'm called to intercede for those of you who need it, and for myself, and for those of you who don't ask, and for those of you who do ask, and everybody in between. Your mama, your grandma, I don't care who I'm interceding for. If they need interceded for, they need intercession, I'm here. That's what I'm here for. So the other day, I made a video. The last 3 videos I've posted, I've had my rings on. And that has been noticed by a lot of people, because I'm not one for wearing rings. Every now and then I'll have a silicone ring I'll try to wear, but it don't last very long. And I take it off, and I don't wear rings. And there's a story behind that. There's a very real story behind that. And I tried touching on it on the live, and I touched on it. I think like I got the point across, but I think it was also confusing too, because if you're new, you're like, huh? And I want to kind of lay it out there for those who are not new and don't know the story, because I haven't told the story other than the live the other day, and I didn't tell it well that day. But I haven't told the story to new people, to old people, to people who have been here for a while, to people who have been here for the whole time, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Haven't told the story. So when I saw the comments about the rings, and they were going one of two ways. They were either saying, oh, I see a ring and it's around Valentine's Day, Merina. I'm also going to brush my teeth. I brush my teeth after I do my makeup. It's a weird thing I have. I literally should be brushing my teeth before I do my makeup. But in the morning, I'll get ready, get my makeup on, and then I'll even put my lipstick on and then brush my teeth. When you have ADHD, you learn things backwards sometimes, but they work best for you that way. Because if I told myself I had to brush my teeth before I put makeup on, I wouldn't put makeup on for some reason. I've noticed I've done that when I've tried to do it that way, so I just do it the way that I flow in. You know, I just go the method I flow in. But the comments went one of two ways. It was, oh my gosh, beautiful ring. Next to Valentine's Day, I see you, Shane. Or it was, oh, big money. She's got big money. Now she's wearing rings. And I want to address the second comment first. You can find these on the Amazon. $1,000, $500 rings are not going to work for Shane and mine's budget. They're under $100, and they mean the world to me. They were under $100, but they are priceless to me, and I'll tell you why. So Shane and I have been married for 16 years, and for the first 6 years of the 16 years, I was atrocious. I was unfaithful. I was promiscuous. I was hateful, full of hate. I had an excuse for everything. I used my childhood of abuse, the abuse that just wrecked my childhood. I used that as an excuse for everything. Every bad action I had, that was done to me, right? I have an excuse to be this awful because I went through this trauma. Because I was traumatized, I can cause trauma. Because havoc was wreaked upon me, I can wreak havoc. And that was my mindset. I don't owe anybody anything. Everything was taken from me anyway. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. That was my mindset in my early 20s. And that was a bad mindset to have when you're married, because I got married at 18. I met my husband. He saved me from an awful living environment. Mentally, just awful. Physically, wrecking. Like, I met Shane. If I had not met Shane, I am 1,000% positive that I would not be who I am today. Translucent powder. I would not be who I am today. I wouldn't be anywhere near who I am today. I would probably be dead or in jail, and that's God's honest truth. But I met my husband, and he saved me from that, and I got married and left at 18. If you go and you read the blog post, there's a past before that will kind of help you understand some of the things that I'm going to go over. But it really could only be a means to gain a better understanding. I could either use that to give you a better understanding or give you an excuse, and know that right now in my life, I'm not who I was 10 years ago. I will not sit here and excuse anything I do. If I give you any extra bit of information, it's not for me to say that was an excuse. It's for me to give you a better understanding. So I do have things that happened before Shane that will give you a better understanding, and if you want to know those things, then you can find them over on the blog post. I've done revisited that area, and we've got caught up to that point. So everything I talk about here is going to be after marriage. We get married, and I want to be that kind of wife and mom that I always wanted, but I don't know how to be. Not only am I ill prepared, but I'm very insecure. Insecurity will take you down and everyone around with you. So early on in my marriage, I start having control issues. I start having jealousy issues. I think I talk a lot about the unfaithful part of my marriage. And then I don't talk enough about the other issues that came along with that. But it wasn't just that I was unfaithful. It was that I was horrible. I was controlling. I was a bona fide certified narcissist. As if the adultery and stuff wasn't enough, that's not all I put Shane through. It was so much more. And I'm not going to cry while doing this because I've got makeup to put on. But I was a evil force to be reckoned with. And like I said, I could use excuses as control was taken from me. So any amount of control I got, I held on to. Those are not excuses. I could say I was young and dumb. I was. Those are not excuses. Many people get married at the age I did and have been through the stuff that I went through, and they don't do what I did. Stronger people, mentally, emotionally. I wasn't strong enough. I was very weak in my mind and in my body, in my emotions. I was very, very weak. So I don't have an excuse other than the fact that I was weak and I chose to do the things that I did. And so Shane and I get married, and the first 6 years, and I was like that while we dated too. It's not like I hid that the way that I was from him before we got married. I was like that when we dated. He very much knew what he was getting into, and he still got into it. We go through the first years of marriage, and I'm already awful. But I'm insecure, we're poor, and I'm only given so much means to be mean with. Okay, let that sink in. I've only got so much means to be mean with, if that makes sense. I'm heavy, I'm insecure, I'm poor, we don't have a lot of money, I'm young and dumb. Only so much means to be mean with. Late teens into early 20s, and in my early 20s, 21, I start to look into things I can do to help provide for my family. Because while I'm mean, I'm trying to change, okay? Trying to get in this headset of I want to change. That's always been my goal, even if I didn't show it. And even if I forgot that for a little bit, I'd always go back to it. I want to be a better wife. I want to be a better mom. It's the same thing that I do right now. Like, I want to be better. I want to be better. I want to be better. But back then, I was just relying on me to be better. There was no Holy Spirit involved. I knew God. I said I knew who God was, but I didn't know who God was. I did not know Holy Spirit like I know Holy Spirit now. Did not know Jesus like I know Jesus now. And that's the difference. And so, trying to better myself in so many different ways, in any way that I can. I want better for my family. At this point, I've got 2 boys. Got Cammie, got Colton, and I've got Shane. And we're living in low-income apartments and beat-up trailers. And I'm over it. I want more for them. And so I start to look into career options. And Nanny, I think it's for my birthday, Christmas, something like that. Nanny loans me $600 as a gift. She loans me $600 to go to CNA classes at Goodwill. Did you know that Goodwill has CNA classes? They have CNA classes. They're good CNA classes too. I actually was valedictorian of my Goodwill CNA class. They're a cheaper, faster version, and you can get to work right away because as you do your clinicals, you're doing them with these companies that are already looking to hire you. It's kind of like a recruitment thing. It's a really good way to become a CNA if you don't want to spend like thousands of dollars at a tech school, and if you want to get to work quickly. You can usually work while you're doing your classes, and then once you get your certification, they bump up your pay and stuff like that. So that was the most realistic way I could get money fast to provide for my family. And that's what I did. Nanny loaned me that, and she did not get paid back for that until after I started YouTube, and that 10 years later. But I did pay her back for it eventually. And I tried to add interest on there because that's a long time to wait. That's a long time to wait for your money. But I was doing the best that I could, and I was working overtime just to pay the bills. But I started going for a career like that, and something that wouldn't take a lot of school time but would also benefit us a lot. You know, it's not mansion money, but it's kind of blue collar money. But for a woman, like, you know, women work in blue collar all the time, but like for a woman who's not good with her hands, like factory work and stuff like that, I've never been good at that. I've tried it. I've worked in factories, I've worked in healthcare, I've worked in fast food, I've worked in a lot of different places, but I was never good at that. So it's kind of the best alternative. CNA was the best alternative for someone like me to get that kind of money, but in a different environment. So I started making more money. So there's that little means for me to be mean with starts becoming bigger means for me to be mean with. So I have more things to have control over, right? Because I'm making more money. Primary sort of like breadwinner, so that's another way of control that I found. So while I was trying to better myself, I was actually very much worsening myself. And then after I got that job, I started losing a lot of weight. I lost 100 pounds. And so that little means I had to be mean with, my weight and insecurity, I was trying to better myself in that area too, and it just became more means to be mean with. And that, even though it provided safe homes for the kids and Shane and myself, and it gave us clothes and stuff, I could get insurance through my job and stuff, I would rather live in a box than do that again. Because even though I was trying to be better, my mind was still not in a better place. My mind was in a very, very much worse place. So if I thought I was wreaking havoc when I was heavy, insecure, very, very poor, and young and dumb, I had no idea what I was capable of when I became the provider, the main provider, because I made more money, and the smaller, what some would say prettier version of myself, I don't think she's prettier at all. Actually, I think she's quite ugly. And then I'm no longer young, but I'm really dumb still. I thought the smaller means was being mean. I had no idea what the larger means was capable of. And so it went from me just being controlling, me being promiscuous, just not a good person, to me being even more controlling, promiscuous, conceited, full of it. I was full of it. And my plan to do better for my family backfired and set me back 6 years. So when I got that big head, it wasn't long till I was just absolutely unfaithful all the time, back and forth. I would be unfaithful, and Shane, I didn't hide it from Shane. I don't know if that's better or worse. So he always said, at least you were honest. I'm like, there's no at least to it. I don't know if it was, as far as I'm concerned, it was just, I just didn't care enough to hide it. And I think that's, I don't know if that's better or worse, but I go for 6 years, back and forth, faithful, unfaithful, faithful, unfaithful. But the last half of those first 6 years, it was unfaithful, 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 trying to be faithful, unfaithful, 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 trying to be faithful. The back and forth didn't happen as often because I was just back all the time. Shane stuck by me like glue. I'm using NYX eyeliner pen. I'm shaking. No matter what I did, he forgave me for it every time. I have the girls. I go through this short area where I'm trying to be better in this back and forth time frame, this first 6 years, and we get pregnant with the girls, and I'm like, okay, I'm on maternity leave. I worked up until I was 38 something weeks pregnant with the girls. I was like, when I get back from maternity leave, it's going to be different. I've got this. Like, this is a bad environment, but it makes money. and I've got this. I did not have that. Placing yourself in an atmosphere that affects you like that is never a good idea, because even though you've been good for a while, you still have that back and forth nature. And even though you're trying to grow, you're not like a tree planted by the water. Like, you're unstable. So even though I thought that I was just going to have that, I just knew I was going to have it in the bag, I went back and ended up being worse than I was before. I was backwards for so long, and then I had this moment where I was going to go forth again. And so like I was trying to come back, trying to bounce back. Shane, I'm trying not to do this, because I told him everything I did. He knew everything. He knows everything I've ever done. Like, we had a conversation one time where I just spilled out everything, and he had known most of it anyway. But like I said, I need you to know the details, because I need you to know how bad I was. If we're going to move forward, I need you to know how bad I was, so that you actually know the extent of who your wife was. Like, I need you to know that. So even though it was like super embarrassing and super like descriptive and all these things, I needed him to know the extent of how horrific I was, and make sure that he still wanted it. Like, he still wanted me. Like, he still wanted this. So I laid everything out. But I had this moment where I was like, I don't want to be this person. I want my family. I want a stable life. I want to give my family something that I never had. I want stability for my kids. I don't want to fight with Shane. I want to accept that kind of love. I don't want to run from it. I don't want to hide from it. Like, I want to be able to learn how to accept it. And so I tried coming back from that lifestyle. It was my longest streak I had ever had. I remained faithful for the longest amount of time ever in that era. And I took it as far as I had to leave that job. I had to leave that environment. So I left there and I went to somewhere else and started over new, because I was known in that work environment as being what I was. It was a big joke as to, oh, Merina can do whatever she wants and Merina's husband won't leave her. Like, it's super embarrassing. That's what I was known for there. And so I knew if I wanted to really change, if I really wanted to come forth and never go back, you could say, I had to leave that environment. And so I did that. And I started a relationship with God. I had known him when I was younger. You know, for a brief period of time, I had really known him. And I remember being beside my bed saying, God, like, I'm leaving this situation. I'm starting a new situation. What if I mess up in this situation? I can't mess up in this situation. I can't be known for that over here. I want to start new. I want to be the parent I need to be. I want to be the wife I need to be. I want to be the person I want to be. And I'm asking you to please help me. My camera battery overheated while I was doing this, so I'm actually going to let it rest a little bit, and then we'll continue this here in just a second. I'm going to use these lashes I just got at Ross. I'm going to use this highlighter I got at Ross, and I'm going to use this blush right here, like a peachy pinky color, and then a nude lip gloss, and I'm going to spray with this set and spray right here. It's just a cheaper one I found on Walmart.com when I ran out of set and spray one day. I'm going to let this camera cool off, and then I'll come back. I'll come back when I'm doing my hair real quick. Also, I'm going to show you guys. This is the mascara. This is the mascara I use. I get it from Ross as well. Let me get all this up so I don't have this to come home to. And we'll go in here and do my hair. I have my hair stuff everywhere. My bathroom is a mess. It really should have been clean with me. I hear Duncan. Duncan, I just moved my screwdriver. Are you going to be in here and chill, or are you going to wreak havoc? Probably the latter, Mama. Probably the latter. Okay, hold on, I'll show you guys. Probably going to use this. I'm not sure yet, but this is the honey... Black honey from CoverGirl. Everybody used to freak out about it. I saw it online that people are still wearing it, and so I might go with that, or like a nude something other. Don't know yet. He's ripping up the carpet. Duncan, no. Are you okay? Then you're gonna have to go in there. I knew that was not gonna last long. I gotta clear out somewhere to put my curling iron while I'm using it. So it's not like... This is a new palette that Shane got me for Valentine's Day. I forgot to show you guys what he got me for Valentine's Day. He got me, it's a Urban Decay palette. I love Urban Decay. I'm using this curling iron today. Guess where I got it? Just 2 guesses. That's a Ross. And then I'm going to use, try to keep my curl in, because even though my hair is super curly, like that's just coming out of the shower. Like last night I took a shower and just like threw it up in a bun and let it air dry. This is what it looks like coming out of the shower. It's super curly. I probably shouldn't even do anything to it, honestly. I don't know if I should do something to it or not do something to it, because it's kind of already curly. What do y'all think? Should I just throw some texturizing spray in there maybe? And then curl my bangs maybe? This is more wilder curls. Shane likes wilder curls. I think we might just fix my bangs and throw some texturizing spray. This is my heat protectant. And this is my texturizing spray. My camera keeps overheating, that's why I had to take a break. But, which is probably God saying, Marina, you need to take a break from this conversation right now. So I ran from the work environment because I knew the work environment was not the problem, but it didn't help. So I stayed within the same profession because, like I said, it was better money. I just moved facilities, and I didn't just move facilities in the town. I drove an hour and 15 minutes, sometimes an hour and a half depending on traffic. I drove that far away to get to a completely different town, completely different facility, completely different owner of facility, like completely different company. I wanted to get as far away as I could, and so even though it was more gas, I still made pretty okay money, so I was able to pull that off. So I'd have to leave an hour and a half early to get all the way to the facility in a different town, and that might have looked like a dumb move to people on the outside, but if people only understood like why I did that, then it would make more sense to them. But I applied for this job, and as I am moving, I get a call that this job wants to hire me, and I'm moving somewhere even further than where I'm at, so it ends up being about an hour and a half drive. So I find out this job wants to hire me, but so I still have to do the interview process for this job. Even though I talked to them and they're like, yeah, we want to hire you, we still have to put it on paper basically. And because my resume spoke for itself, I had worked for the same company for so many years, and I had moved up. Like I worked really hard in that company. I did 16-hour shifts 7 days a week. Literally would, anytime it snowed, I lived right next to that first facility, so every time it snowed, I would be the one that was there. I would be sleeping in the break room for 15 minutes, going back and working more than I should have, over 48 hours on the clock. While you can't really do that, if it comes to a care sort of position, if nobody can get there, you can't not care for the patients. So at one point, I was literally there for an entire weekend, 48 hours, and I was taking 15-minute naps in the break room to keep myself up and going. Younger me could do stuff like that. I could not. But I was going away from home a lot, and I missed my kids so bad when I did that. I missed my kids so bad. I missed a lot of important appointments Shane had to take them to and everything because I was always working. I get a call from this place that they want to hire me, but we need to just come in and do like a sit down chat, kind of not even an interview, just let me know your schedule sort of thing. So I was reading my Bible a lot, and I didn't want to make the same bad decisions that I had made at the previous place. So I would go to work and I would take my Bible, and the ladies would laugh at me. And they'd be like, Merina, what are you doing? Can't you read that when you get home? I was like, no, I got to read it on my break. I got to read it when I get a slow moment. I knew that if I wanted to change, I'd already taken myself out of the worst environment for myself. I knew that I had to pursue God with everything in me. I knew that. I just automatically knew that. And so this time I was like, we're not going back and forth. We're gonna do this. Like, God, I've got you now on here. I can't mess up, right? Because God's got this, right? God did have this, but I did not. So I'm reading my Bible every day, and I'm getting ready to go to this interview, and I go to walk in this interview, and there's a man stand-in. He is a really important worker in that facility, very high up. He's standing there, and I know the looks, and I know the looks because at this point this isn't my first rodeo, and I see the intrigue. And it's not that I'm so pretty. It's not that I'm so mysterious and cool. And there are plenty other prettier women than myself. But if you know my story, you know that the enemy has had a direct attack towards me in that area my whole life. It's always been I've been running from men. I've either been running from men or to men. That has been the attack of the enemy on my life since I was a baby, since before I could run. That's been what I've been doing. That's been the area that the enemy chose to pursue in me. I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna curl it. What time is it? Yeah, we'll go ahead and curl it. So I'm trying to do better, and reading my Bible. I left my job and I bought myself a promise ring. And this was not only like a promise ring. This was not only like a promise ring to like myself, like I'm going to be different, but it was a promise ring to Shane too, and I felt like to God. And that's a big thing because I never had a ring from Shane. When he asked me to marry him, he didn't have a ring. And so any ring that I had, I bought. And so I bought this one to kind of be as a promise, this specific ring to kind of be as a promise to myself and to Shane and to God that I would not go that route again. Like I said, this is my longest stretch of being a good person. This is my longest stretch of being faithful at this point. This is my longest stretch of me getting to know God at this point. This is my longest stretch. And I wanted something to signify that. And can you tell where this is going yet? And so I read my Bible, got me a new Bible, got me highlighters, I read through the entire New Testament in no time. I was just eager to change. So I get to this interview / scheduling thing, and I walk in here a new person with my ring on, my Bible knowledge in my head. I just listened to Jesus music the whole hour and a half way there. And I get there, and right away as soon as I walk in, I notice some eyes on me. And this is not new to me because I've been that person. I felt like there was a target on me my whole life. It's not because I'm so pretty. It's not because I'm so cool or mysterious or have aura or any, as the kids say these days, or anything like that. From the day I was born, before I could even run, I was running either away from men or to men. Running away from men in my younger life, that's always been like a target. It's like the enemy's attack on me specifically since I was a baby. I know the signs. I pick up on them very, very, very quickly. And now that's a blessing. But it used to be a curse. It made things far too easy for me back then. And so I walk in and I see these pair of eyes on me, and I automatically get a pit in my stomach. I'm like, no, this is new. We're not doing this again. This is not how this is going to be. I'm a changed person. I'm a changed wife. I'm a mom. I'm here for one reason. That's to make money, provide for my family, and go home. I was like, I'm not doing this. So I sit there and I'm waiting on my appointment, and the whole time they're trying to make eye contact with me. And there's a war going on in my head. It's kind of like if you put a drug addict, because I was addicted to the attention, which is why I had to take such drastic measures, and we'll get to that later. But I keep wanting to take that backwards. But it's like setting a drug addict in front of drugs and telling them to ignore the voices in their head. Right? They've done it for so long that they just go on autopilot. And so I was fighting that autopilot in me so hard that day. And I go in, do my scheduling. I'm going to walk out, and they chase me out the front of the building in front of God and everybody. And they're like, my name is so-and-so, I have to know your name. I turn around and I say, what, baby? What are you doing, love?
I was gonna say something.
Well, show it to me.
Huh?
Show it to me.
Don't be mad.
What?
Don't be mad.
What did you do?
Ashamed.
Did you? Hey, why would I be mad?
Closely.
I love your face.
I'm just kidding. Sorry, closely.
It
How's it look?
looks gorgeous.
I did something a little bit different.
I'm using Rave hairspray. I already did the bottom half and pinned it up with a clip. I'm using that because all of my older generation on here said that it was the best. That's what y'all used in the 80s. So I just turn around, I just kind of smile, not really a big smile, just like kind of, my name is Merina. And then I walk onto my car, get in my car, and lock my doors. And I can remember exactly what went through my head when I sit in that car. I knew. I was stuck between a rock and a hard place because I was like, I need this job. I just quit my other job. I need this job. But if this is going to be like it was back there, if I'm not strong enough to do this over and do this over right, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this, and I didn't know what to do. The silver lining in it is that I always worked overnights. I did, even at the old facility, I worked overnight. Now, that carried a lot of times from second shift, because like I said, I started out overnight, but I did a lot of doubles. And so I would work, I never worked from night till, I never worked through night shift and day shift, because that's, after night shift, you're exhausted. That's hard. Then you had to jump into breakfast and all that stuff. And so I would go from second shift to night shift. I thought I'd be safer though, because I only planned on working night shift. And so I decided against my gut and decided I was going to stick with that job, and I would just work the night shift. And that's how I would avoid that. So I would work night shift, and I would take my Bible to work with me, and I would read my Bible, and I'd have my little ring on. I would listen to worship music all the way down, an hour and a half. And I would read my Bible on my breaks and any time I had a chance. And I would listen to worship music all the way back. My triggers, I guess you could say. And I knew to avoid those at all costs. And then one day I had to come in early because it was mandatory that I come in early at that point. And this person sees me again. I ignored as best as I could without being rude. But I went on about my day, and I had a pit in my stomach the size of Alaska, because I was like, this is not good. Like, they obviously thought that they would never see me again, you know? Now they know that I work here, and now they know that I am third shift. And this is why I tell you it's the enemy. Like, he pursues no matter what. Like, he pursues. I'm going to... My camera is overheating. Okay, I got my hair curled. I'm probably going to clip it just so it stays kind of curled. My bangs will probably fall. Me working third shift didn't really protect me like I thought it would. Like, it wasn't as safe as I thought it was, because they found out whenever I had to come in early. So at this point I had this like ongoing devil angel on a shoulder sort of mindset. I was freshly a new person. I was freshly changed. And that makes a difference. Because over time, whatever it is you're addicted to, if you don't partake in that thing, if you ignore the devil, he'll flee from you, sort of thing. If you continually kill that flesh, it becomes easier to do that. And so when you're just freshly changing, you don't have that under control. Even when God is in the equation, it's still up to you to be disciplined, because God will help you and God will equip you. God will lead you and guide you, but he doesn't force you. That's the whole thing with us being given free will, is even though God could change me like that, giving me the option to love him and not forcing me to, gets in that way, gets in the way of him doing that. And so it becomes up to me and God together to change me. It's up to me to allow him to change me. It kind of manifests what he's doing on the inside, on the outside. It's his job to work on the inside, right? But it's my job to allow that to manifest in physical form and let the change be both inwards and outward. Casting Crowns has this song, it's called It's a Slow Fade. And I love that song. If you haven't ever heard it, go listen to it. It is to a T the truth. I mean, it is capital TRUTH. It's a slow fade. Kingdoms don't crumble in a day. My resolve didn't crumble all of a sudden. It was the slow hair flips. And it was the slow eye contact, and it was the slow small smiles, and it was the slow specific tones, the entertainment towards that person, this reciprocation. It was a slow fade. Eventually that slow fade, you can picture it as like an avalanche, like it begins slowly, and the further it falls, right, the more momentum it gains. And that's what it's like to fall back into sin. I know, because I've been there and done it. I know that's what it's like. But for me, it was replacing the worship music that I loved at one point, listening to all the way down there, an hour and a half, right? It was replacing it with secular music the last half of the trip. Eventually the worship music became secular music the entire time. Now, is secular music bad? Like, no, I don't think it is. I think depending on what it is, I don't think it's bad to listen to secular music as long as it doesn't affect you in a certain way, and depending on what is in it, you know. But as far as a secular music in a whole, I don't think that that's an issue, but it can be. But in my case, that was my slow fade. It was going from worship music to, oh, this is worship music all the way down there is a lot. Let's do half worship music, half secular. And then, oh, let's just do all secular. And then I would get down there, and instead of bringing my Bible to read on my break, it would be, I'm going to read a chapter of my Bible, and then I'm going to read another book. I'm going to get a chapter in a day, and it became a chore, and it's no longer something that I was pursuing and I wanted to do. It was, I need to do this because I've started this sort of thing. I wasn't just neglecting my relationship with Shane, I was neglecting my relationship with God. And so when that resolve was down, right, I hadn't been filling myself with the things of God. I hadn't been filling myself with encouragement and uplift and scripture and all these things. I was filling myself with the secular stuff, right? The secular music, the booty shaking music, the books I was reading. They weren't bad per se, but they weren't like scripture, and it wasn't filling me up, right? It wasn't becoming armor for me for throughout my day when I got into battles with the enemy over things. I was neglecting God because I was neglecting the Word, and while I was neglecting the Word, I was neglecting my armor. I was essentially neglecting the battle and pretending it wasn't there when I knew it was there, very much so there. This is getting somewhere, because all these slow fades lead me to this moment. I'm on night shift. This person's found out I work night shift, and they randomly come in to the facility at late at night, 1-ish, 2-ish, something like that, and they make a beeline to where I'm at. And I see them walk in, and I'm sitting there. I hadn't been filling myself up with worship music, hadn't been reading the Word like I should, hadn't been praying like I should, and I'm sitting there, and they're walking in, and I made the conscious decision right then and there to put my hands under the table and take my ring off, my promise ring that I had got for myself and for Shane and for God. I took my hand underneath the table and I took off my ring. And I went back again. And I remember thinking, if it's this easy to take off, why even put it on? That time was even worse than the other previous times. That was a dark time. And I told Shane too, I said, never buy me a ring. I was like, never buy me a ring. I don't want a wedding ring. I'll do like the little silicone rings if I feel like if I have a moment where I'm like, oh, maybe I could wear one. I was like, never buy me a ring. I'm not ever buying myself a ring again. if it's that easy to take off, what is it even supposed to signify? Like, that was my promise to Shane, and that was my promise to God, and that was my promise to me. If I could take that off that easy, I don't want it. Now, while that time was really, really dark, and that was the worst time out of all of them, that was the last time I went back. I spent months in that dark area, there was no back and forth at that point. It was all just back. I just 250 steps back. But that was the last time that I went back. After that, I went forth. And I had this whole come to Jesus moment where I'm like, you're still here. And I found that Jesus was very much like Shane, that he just don't go away. He just stays. And he just endures, and he's long-suffering. He's everything the fruit of the Spirit says he is, because it's the fruit of the Spirit. It's the evidence he's there. When I went forward that time, after the last time I went back, this year, that is 10 years ago. That's been 10 years ago this year. For 10 years, I would not wear a wedding ring. And the closest thing I would get to it would be a silicone ring, a pink one or a green one. But I would not wear a wedding ring because I remember the promise I broke. And I felt like a wedding ring would be a reminder of that every day. Every day I felt like that would be a reminder for what I did. And how easy it was for me to just take that off. Life hack. In your 30s, you're going to want a nose ring, maybe. Don't actually get your nose pierced, just get a fake one. You can take it out when you feel like it. So I've already taken my teeth out. Because y'all's tripod is hilarious right now. I've already taken my teeth out so that I can eat. Oh, that goes on my salad.
Some Texas Roadhouse. We got some of their yummy
we got a
rolls.
Bloomin' onion.
Put the rolls in.
I got chicken separate from my chicken critter salad.
It's chicken a la king.
I don't want that much chicken on it. I just want more salad than chicken. Oh, there's a lion. Oh my gosh, it's a lion.
It's a lion.
It's a lion.
It's a lion.
Let's see. Oh, is this my salad? Oh, this is my salad. That was like egg salad.
It has been 10 solid years, seriously, since Merina had what we've affectionately referred to as the come to Jesus moment, the time.
Also the dark ages.
In the dark ages, right?
Mm-hmm. I was telling them it was a slow fade, basically. I was
Yeah.
telling them like it wasn't like an overnight thing. It was constantly back and forth, and it's
You
not
gotta
like
watch
it would
them
be.
slow fades.
It's not like it would be. Hey, lock the door.
It's locked. It's locked, baby.
It was not.
It was too.
It's just locked. Mine is a slow fade.
It's a slow fade. No,
But-
continue.
And somehow it wasn't like I would go back and forth as in like, oh, one day I'm good, one day I'm not. It would be like a slow fade. And what I did was taking off my ring. That stuck with me. I was like, if I were to do good for 5 years, I remember thinking this at the time, if I were to be completely faithful and be as the best version of myself I could be for 5 years, it would still eat me alive to have something like that on my hand again, because to me it would be a constant reminder of what I did. And so for the past 10 years, you know, Shane and I have went through many avenues to grow closer, and our marriage is on another level.
Because it's built on Jesus.
It's on another level. Like, the amount of honesty and vulnerability, the fact that I can just lay out all my sins, the worst ones that nobody else will know about, I can just lay out all of that almost like on him, almost like as a mirror of, like, you know, Jesus, like when you just lay it all out in front of Jesus and you're like, this is what it really looks like, yet you still love me, sort of thing. I've noticed the hardest parts, like being honest about things that I had done and telling the brutal, like, detailed truth to him. Those are times where I thought it was going to kill me, and it strengthened us like I never thought it would. You would think if you tell somebody your deepest, darkest secrets, they would turn away and be like, mm-mm. But he did. And it's a direct mirror to, like, what God did whenever I took it to him. And so the past 10 years, we've been doing a lot of that initially, where I just was, like, telling him everything. I mean, just everything I ever did, all my deep, dark secrets, everything that happened, my thinking process, what was going on in my mind, in my heart, the best that I could explain it. I told him all of that at the beginning of the 10 years. And then we spent years after that building from the ground up. And it took 10 years for me to finally be able to have a constant reminder on my hand, because it's not a reminder of that, because we built so much between then and now. It's a reminder of that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a reminder of what I did that day like I thought it would be. Yeah. It's a reminder of what we built from the rubble of that disaster. That's what I remember every time I look down at my ring. And it's something I did not think that it was going to happen that way. And I was stressed, because I was like, is this like what I'm going to have to think about for the rest of my life every time I look at a ring? Like, I was, for sure, I was never going to be able to wear wedding rings ever again. And it took 10 years. Literally 10 years. It took 10 years.
And that's the thing, too. No, I'm going to stop here there. It's because, like, the 10 years has been a process. But it's a process that, like, Jesus was orchestrating. And it's like, and Jesus knows, like, a lot of people think that Jesus is just going to pop, fix it, it's done. And it's like, he knows we're more complicated than that. And so those 10 years, he's piecing everything together and fixing things a different way. And so that's why, like, the timing of how it all worked out in the end, because, like, whenever I say, like, the choosing of that ring, that was Holy Spirit led 100%.
I didn't even get to that part. You told him that part.
I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead. I'm Marty McFly.
So we come up to this 10-year mark. And every year I've told him, do not give me wedding rings, do not give me a wedding band, do not give me a promise ring, do not give me nothing. I want my actions to speak louder than words, is what I was saying. It's not that I didn't want to wear that thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I wanted to so bad. It's like, someone was talking to me and they're like, you have to forgive yourself. Mm. And I told him, I said, I want to, but it's also like if somebody were to walk up and say the cruelest, most hurtful thing to Shane and smack him across the face, I would be very angry with them. And that's the struggle nobody talks about with adultery and with, being unfaithful. It's when you come out of that and you grow to love the person like you should have loved them the whole time. When you grow in yourself and you learn new things and stuff, nobody tells you how angry the newer version is with the older version. Mm-hmm. It's almost as if it's two separate people, and it's like I want to live it down, right? It's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing. I want to forget about it. I want to move on, but I don't want her to forget about it, and I don't want her to move on.
Mm-hmm. There's a thing
nobody talks about that.
There's a thing too where when you think back on an older version of yourself and you kind of you bring it to Jesus to ask for forgiveness and to repent of it, right? And it's like he casts it as far as the east is from the west. We know that. But it's like I find myself sometimes, with things that I've gone to him and repented about, I don't want to forget because I want the severity of how serious his forgiveness is. And I don't believe Jesus wants us to condemn ourselves. But, and I'm not saying that that's for everybody, but for me, myself, is I keep things like that in the back of my head, and I don't forget, because I always want to sit there and I can go to Jesus and be like, you know, I hate that older version of myself. I hate that person that didn't live the way he was supposed to. But I'm so thankful that you forgave me, and I can compare that person to who I am now. You know what I'm saying? It's good sometimes to have a mirror of the old person, so you can also see how far Jesus has brought you.
And that's the area I'm in right now in healing, I guess you could say, is I've recognized that we're two separate people now, right? The former version and the version now. But I don't know if I'll ever fully get over the fact that I hurt someone so precious to me over and over and over. He's precious. That's the part I don't think I'll ever get over. I think I'll die. I don't know. I think I'll die without fully forgiving myself.
And again, I don't know what the right answer is. You know, I'm not a preacher, but like, I think God wants us to forgive ourselves at some point, right? But I think he also understands we're human. You know what I'm saying? And that's when it's like, my forgiveness is enough. Like, God's forgiveness is enough. It's like, you may not forgive yourself, but at least know my forgiveness has got it. I think the important thing is that we don't allow that haunting, that guilt, to have us condemn ourselves. Because when we condemn ourselves, we look past what Jesus did.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I ain't there yet, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not there yet.
And whether or not you ever get there, it's again, Jesus' grace is sufficient, but just know that I see who you are now.
You know, if somebody were to come up to you, right, and punch you in the face, right? I wasn't there, but you came home and you told me about it.
You'd want to throw hands.
I'd want to throw hands. You know, it's my husband. I would want to be. I would want to brawl, and I would be like, oh, I'd be so frustrated, and it would take me a little bit, but I would eventually
calm down.
Calm down, and I would eventually, hopefully, forgive them.
And not want to throw hands.
But now, and if they did that over and over and over again, it would get harder and harder and harder to forgive them, right? Well, with me, it's, think of that the same way, except for he doesn't come home and tell me that somebody punched him in the face. I saw the punch. I saw the tears in real time. I heard the begging me not to go somewhere, begging me to get it together, begging me to want him. I see that, and that haunts me all the time. So it's hard to forgive myself when I'm still seeing those tears at least once a day. I'm reminded in some way, shape, or form. I'm reminded of him standing at the door crying, begging me not to go, begging me to only love him, begging me to only want him. And that's why I don't think forgiveness for myself will ever fully come. Because how can you forgive yourself when that's all you remember? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was over and over and over and again. Like, I didn't care. I did. That's the part that
right. But
I didn't care. I didn't even. If you would have asked me if I wanted forgiveness, I would have been like, why?
Right. But I read a thing the other day, and I think it's very true. It's very true. That the closer you get to Jesus, the more sinful you feel. And it's because his light starts shining those shadows off of you. And you start feeling the ick. I know it's difficult because we're not Jesus, right? But it's like, but if he can forgive us that many times, at some point in time, you can Now, it's up to you, but you can. You know what I'm saying? I can. People can.
I want her to suffer.
Well, there's a lot of things I would like old Shane to suffer for as well, but it's a thing of that because at the end of the day, it's like you can be mad at that old person. I can be mad at my old person. You know, Bobby over here can be mad at his old person. Jenny over here can be mad at her old person. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that that's the key word, though, is the old person. Mm-hmm. Because once you become that new person, it's a whole new ballgame. You know what I'm saying? And in the 10 years since, you know, you had your come to Jesus moment, like, you've always been my baby girl. You're still my Merina, but it's, he took a Nokia phone and he's turned it into an iPhone Pro 15 Max. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? And it's got the same battery in it. It's got the same maybe like parts inside of it, right? That's probably not the best thing because I know they probably have different parts, but just follow my analogy here. Like, they've got the same parts, but it's brand new, it's improved, it can do this now and it can do that now. And it's like, and I've watched him take all the parts in you that were there before your come to Jesus moment, right? And you had a capacity for great love and capacity to like helping your neighbor, and I'm not talking about just like neighbors, I'm talking about like people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you always had these capacities. And not only did, after he had that change for you, that come to Jesus moment, but then he started taking those qualities, those gifts, right, that he placed inside of you, those character qualities that he placed inside of you, and then he cranked them up to 11. You know what I'm saying? And I literally watched him turn my most favorite human in the world into like my super most favorite human in the world, if that makes sense. One of my personal regrets was not having a ring when I proposed to you when I was young.
Well, I was the live the other day. He pawned his guitar to have gas money to come get me. So
yeah, but I was so young. I was terrible with money. I probably could have saved. I probably, you know, but there was probably a thousand different things. But all I know is at the time I just wanted to be with her. I wanted to be her husband. I want her to be my wife. I just wanted to be with her. We had literally gone from seeing each other once a week to twice a week to 3 times a week to nearly almost every day of the week we were seeing one another. And at this point, we just wanted to like be each other's person for the rest of our lives. We were coming up on Valentine's Day, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to get you. And I'm not going to go into too many details because it's between me and Jesus, but Jesus played a fun little game. It was a scavenger hunt with me, and he pointed me in the direction of getting her a ring. And I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous because I knew her opinion on getting a ring. It's not that she didn't want the ring, but she just got done explaining that. But I was like, Lord, I don't think she wants a ring. I'm over here telling the creator of all
I don't think
things,
she wants that.
I think you might be mistaken. He kept impressing, and so I was like, okay, we're gonna look for a ring. So I started looking.
Be scary because I have been so adamant against it.
And so I was looking, and every single ring I was coming across, just it wasn't it. And I was just like, Lord, I think. And I even was sitting there. I was second guessing, which be careful about second guessing when you're hearing the Holy Spirit. But I'm second guessing it, and I'm going, maybe I misheard. And then all of a sudden, there was one that I had seen, and I felt this nudge to go back. And I was like, okay. And I click on it. And then I zoomed up on it. And when I zoomed up on it, I don't know how to explain this, but like, because Rena could probably explain it better, but in terms of like, it's almost like Holy Spirit shines a light bulb and it illuminates more than just an image. It illuminates meaning, major meaning. And the meaning goes into something very precious between me and Rena, which is, you know, I think that stays between me and her, but there's something very precious between us. And it had a meaning, but then it had another meaning, one that I can relay, and that was how it had like these spirals doing this. and one spiral, and this is, I feel like the Holy Spirit really was like telling me this. One spiral represented me, another spiral represented her, and they come together, and it gets into the rock on the ring. And the fact that, you know, he tells us in the Bible right there, he tells us to build our very foundation on the rock, and he's our rock. It represents the three parties that are in this contract, this covenant, and that is Rena, myself, and God. And so he had me write it down, and we went on our date, and then I was originally going to take her back to the place that I proposed to her, but
everything went wrong
that night. Everything that could go wrong was going wrong that night. It was kind of a revelation to, let's not go where we proposed the first time. Let's go where Jesus seems to be taking everything, and really, it's almost like he's creating a new chapter, right? So we stood at the top of our hill on our land that Jesus blessed us with, in front of our home that Jesus blessed us with. And I took her over there, and I pulled out my little, three-page thing, and I read to her what I felt, but then also like God directed how I felt, because I wanted those words to, I didn't want it to just be a love letter. I've written her love letter after love letter, but I wanted it to be something that really was something I felt for her, not only from my heart, but from my spirit. And then I gave her the ring, and it was, when I sit there and I look back, like whenever I'm like on my deathbed and way off in the future, it's gonna be one of like the top moments of my life. The wind was blowing also, making the trees, after I got done reading, the trees were literally clapping. I'm not joking. You guys can think I'm crazy, but seriously, it sounded like the trees were clapping. And it was a moment between me and her, but it was a moment between me, her, and Jesus. And you could feel his presence in that moment. And I think it was like almost this thing of like him saying, okay, 10 years, we've scraped off the land. We've gotten the debris, we've gotten the rubble. He's fixed things in her, he's fixed things in me. And it's like, now it's time to build. And it's time to start building something. And you said something, you were like, you know, a lot of times you think of like old people looking back and thinking about in their younger years, but it was like, we want to sit there and be like, actually, we went through this, and we got through this together with Jesus.
I think the love stories where they got together in high school and they stayed faithful to each other the whole marriage.
Those are precious.
Like, that's something special.
Yeah.
That's one of a kind, like something special. That's amazing. But our story doesn't look like that. And I want to be honest with, you know, our kids growing up, like whenever we're old and we're telling our story and we're like, yeah, we messed up. Specifically me.
No, it was both.
I messed up so much, but we fought like heck.
Our marriage is that metal that got put into the fire. And now it's been brought out, and it's been tempered, and it's been forged, and it's been reforged, and now it's stronger than it was. And now it's a thing of that. It's taught us too, you know, if, you know, more adversities come our way, we've already fought together. We know how. It's like when you watch them action movies and you got the partners back to back, and they know they've got each other's back, and they know, like, you'll see, like, it might be like Jackie Chan and somebody, right? And Jackie Chan will go to punch, and the other guy knows that Jackie Chan's going to punch, so he dodges and lets him punch the guy. And we know each other's moves. So when more adversity comes, we now recognize how we fight together. Yeah. And we recognize each other, like each other's strengths and each other's weaknesses.
The most important thing with this is, I told you guys, you know, I bought that promise ring 10 years ago. I bought that promise ring as a promise to Shane and God. And it fell through. I didn't keep my promise. But this one is a promise from God to me that he always keeps his promises.
And he always does.
Always. As a matter of fact, I'm quite positive that when he says he works out all things for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose, I believe with my whole entire heart he actually means that, because I'm living proof of that. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I hope y'all have a blessed morning, evening, night, whatever it is, wherever you're at. Know that I love you, but Jesus loves you so much more. I will see y'all in the next one. I love you.